So good day, my name is Ms. Ogechi Edun and you're welcome to our online class. We're talking about information security, risk analysis and management, but we're going to be looking today at the risk management frameworks and standards. The other time I introduced the compliance and regulatory risk management. So today we're going to be looking at the risk management frameworks and standards in itself. So join me as we do that. At the end of this lecture, I think we should be able to, explain the importance of risk. We should be able to say a thing or two about that. We should be able to tell us what a risk management framework is about, and something new about the risk management frameworks and standards. However, so we know that there are several organizations today based on technology, and you name it, they face several kinds of threats, basically online threats, and responding reactively to those threats most times will make organizations lose the battle. So when it comes to things like this, it is better to be proactive than to be what? To be reactive. It is better for us to be what? Proactive than to be what? To be reactive. If you look at your screen, there's a picture between being proactive and being reactive. Being reactive has a shaky pillar. The pillar is not balanced. You have all sorts of attacks, and this can cause a crash, however. But being proactive, you see that once you are able to identify, you're able to protect, you're able to detect, automatically your pillars are standing strong. In essence, you have a good security posture. That is what this diagram is just trying to explain. There's a good security posture. Why? Because you are well prepared for what is ahead. And even if there is an attack, it is not going to be as bad as one without an organization without what? Preparation. However, okay. So now the master plan. What is risk management framework? When we say risk management framework, it's a set of policies, procedures, guidelines, and all of these are used to be able to proactively identify, control, assess, monitor, and reduce what? Risk. So identify, assess, control, monitor, and reduce what? Risk affecting an organization's information assets. So with the risk management framework being put in place, we can proactively identify, we can assess, we can control, we can then detect, at the same time reduce the risk that is supposed to take place, increasing the security posture of an organization's information security system, protecting information assets. Now, why do organizations need the risk management framework? They need it because of the following reasons: to be able to protect sensitive information. The next reason there is to reduce cyber risk. The next one that we have is to improve decision making. The next one is to meet the regulatory requirements. The next one that we have is supporting business continuity. And the next one that we have is to build customers' confidence. However, now very quickly, what are the foundation principles of an effective framework? You have the fact that it has to be systematic, a structured and logical approach, something that is realistic. How do we achieve this? It should be it's systematic. It is step by step. It is understandable. It can be followed through. It's not ambiguous. However, the next one, that it is repeatable, consistent over time. It is what? It is consistent. The next one that we have is what? It is flexible, something that is adaptable. The next one is it's scalable. It grows alongside the business. The next one we have is it is measurable. The outcome can be quantified. And then the next one is what? It is continuous. It operates constantly. It is never static. And then we also have business oriented. It should be business oriented. That is, it has to align with the organization's goals. This cannot be overemphasized. Now, what are the frameworks we're going to be looking at? I spoke of the IS the ISO 27001 in the last class. I also talked about the NIST framework and the COBIT framework. So there are lots of them. We have the NIST risk management framework. We have the NIST cybersecurity framework. We have the ISO/IEC 3100, and then the ISO 27001, the COBIT and the what and the Octave. All these are the several kinds of frameworks that are being used. Know that the NIST is something that is widely adopted by government agencies, universities, and other financial institutions to be able to implement or integrate cybersecurity into their overall business processes. And there are steps here. The first one is to prepare, the second is to categorize, the third is to select, the fourth is to implement, the fifth is to assess, the sixth is to authorize, and the last, that which is the seventh step there, is to what? To monitor. However, to monitor. So if you look at your NIST security framework, you see on your screen there's a pre-incident, there's a parameter, and then there's a what? A post-what? Incident. So we have been able to identify, and then we put up what? A firewall. But just for as in the case of the firewall now being broken because of a ransomware attack, there's a measure that has been put in place to detect that something is already going on. What is now going to be the next line of action? Automatically there's a response team to that attack, and after that, or even as that is running concurrently, we have the recovery team also running into action, or systems running into action. And that is because the cybersecurity framework is in play. However, so that's the difference between the risk management framework and the cybersecurity framework. The next one, I know I talked about the ISO 27001, which is information security management system. The ISO IEC, this is an enterprise risk system. So now its core process is to be able to identify all organizational risk. Well, how does it do that? It's first of all identify, analyze, evaluate, treat, monitor, and review as well. So the both scopes are different. One focuses on all organizational risk. The other focuses on a specific asset per time. Anyways, so we're now looking at governance and vulnerability methodologies. Governance and vulnerability methodologies. Better compliance and stronger accountability. While the Octave, it focuses on operational critical threats, assets, as well as vulnerability evaluation. It evaluates organizational risk over purely technological ones, and the phases are seen or stated on the screen. So over on the screen, you should see the blueprint selection matrix. Depending on what your focus is, that is what will determine the kind of framework that you are supposed to use. So on your screen, I'm just going to leave it about 2 seconds so you could quickly look at them. There are about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are about 6 of them on your screen. Now we're going to move on to the framework ecosystem. So you have the enterprise, which is the umbrella, covering all kinds of organizational risk, and then you have the governance, which is a layer. You have the programmatic layer, as well as the operational engine. So for all of this, it's more like classifying those frameworks into several categories as to how they perform, or how they function. Now the next thing is, we're going to be looking at framework implementation. These frameworks that I have listed, how do we implement them? The first thing there is you are identifying business objectives. What is your business objective? What do you intend to achieve? What do you want to do as it pertains to your business? What do you hope to achieve? The next one there is the assets. What are your assets? So for every business, there's always an asset. The next one is the threats. Identify your threats, the vulnerabilities, the controls. What controls are you going to put up there? How do you intend to implement those controls? And do you intend to monitor continuously? And at the same time, how do you intend to go about improvement? So these are, should I say, the framework implementation. It is something that we have to do over time in having to what uh, um, carry out or follow through with a particular what framework. This is how we implement them. Now, what are the challenges when it comes to framework implementation? High implementational cost. It is expensive. Lack of skilled cybersecurity personnel or professionals to be able to do that. That's another challenge. Resistance to organizational change. Some people are not ready to change. Even with how technology has advanced to this point, you still have certain persons still in the year, should I say, 2000s, maybe 2001, 2002, and we're in 2026, for instance. So technology is advancing, but some people are still using the old methods that they are used to. They don't want to change. That's another challenge. Another one is the rapid technological change or rapid technological evolution, and then complex compliance requirements. Certain times the requirements for compliance is actually what's really complex and cannot be over what emphasized. So now there's a case study. A Nigerian university experiences repeated phishing attacks and unauthorized access to examination records. Now, it has the following after conducting an audit report and carrying out audits. This was what was found out. Their vulnerability is what is weak access as well as weak access passwords has been detected. Warning: no formal information security policy found. They have a critical now note. So these are the critical things. Vulnerability that was detected was what? There's weak access passwords. Now there's no formal security policy found. Poor backup practice, they don't even have it, and that's critical. And then when it comes to human elements, limited them. So it means the employees are not even trained. Limited employee security what? Awareness. It means employees are not what? They are not what? They are not trained. So how do we go about it? By the time we adopt a framework, now let's pick the ISO 27001, you realize that we'll be able to regulate certain things. First one is we'll now get a significant reduction in phishing, improve data protection compliance, increase staff/students confidence, as well as faster incident what recovery. Why? Looking at the interventions that came as a result of using the framework, we have comprehensive risk assessments conducted. So information security policy was developed, multi-factor authentication was what was implemented, security awareness training was conducted both for staff as well as for students, because they are the stakeholders of the system. And then you have the quarterly audit schedule, that is monitoring, as well as your encrypted backups that has been deployed. So you see that these frameworks are not useless after all. They actually were very helpful and was very useful. What have I said in the long run? Structured frameworks enabled organizations to be able to manage the risk systematically while supporting core business functions or objectives, and ensuring that there are strict regulatory compliance. Once all of these are put in place, what do we stand to enjoy? What are the benefits? On your screen, you should have improved cybersecurity posture. In essence, your business has a good foundation. It has a good structure. Nothing will just come and then take it down. Better decision making, regulatory compliance standard is followed, and hence your standard is your regulatory compliance is secured. Reduce financial losses, faster incident response, as well as optimize resource allocation. So I hope you enjoyed the class. If you have any questions, you have anything you're not sure about that you want me to talk about, or anything whatsoever as it pertains to this course, feel free to do that on the comment section and I'll take my time to respond. Thank you very much, and I hope to see you on the next one. Good day and God bless you.